Crocodiles are scarier than most people imagine. These reptiles are known for their stealth and status as top-tier apex predators. But some have grown so massive that they have earned their own names, especially the feared man-eaters, whose stories have become legends. Just how big can a crocodile get? Join us as we reveal the top 10 biggest crocodiles ever recorded. Number 10. Gomek. Gomek was a massive saltwater crocodile with a long and interesting history. He was born in 1927 and spent the first part of his life in the wild, where he grew into a strong predator. In 1968, he was captured by George Craig in Papua New Guinea. At the time, he was already an impressive size, making him one of the largest crocodiles ever caught. Instead of being released or hunted, Gomek was placed in captivity, where he would become one of the most famous crocodiles in the world. For many years, Gomek lived in Ocala, Florida, under the care of Terry and Arthur Jones, who purchased him in 1985. He stayed there for about 5 years before moving to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoological Park in Florida. This would become his permanent home for the rest of his life. At St. Augustine, Gomek became a popular attraction. Unlike many other large crocodiles, he had a surprisingly calm personality. He was known for being friendly with his handlers and did not show the usual aggression that most crocodiles display. Because of this, his keepers could approach him closely, sometimes as near as 3 feet, without fear. One of Gomek's most famous behaviors was his ability to toss food, particularly nutria, with great skill. He became well known for feeding shows, launching his food into the air before catching and swallowing it. This made him a favorite among visitors, who would come from all over to see him in action. Despite his size, he moved gracefully and was fascinating to watch. His calm nature and ability to tolerate people made him stand out from other large crocodiles. Gomek was also an impressive specimen in terms of his physical size. By the time he passed away, he was measured at 17 feet 9 inches long and weighed around 1,896 pounds. Gomek lived in captivity for many years, growing older and larger with each passing year. Unfortunately, like all living things, he eventually reached the end of his life. In 1997, Gomek passed away from heart disease. He was estimated to be around 70 years old at the time of his death, which is considered very old for a crocodile. Number 9. Cassius. Cassius was a massive saltwater crocodile who lived at the Marineland Crocodile Park on Green Island, Queensland, Australia, for many years. He was once known as the largest crocodile in captivity. He was a giant among crocodiles at about 18 feet long and weighing around 2,870 pounds. This giant crocodile was first found in the wild in the Finnis River in the Northern Territory of Australia, where he was a problem because he often attacked boats. People feared him, and it was dangerous for humans and the crocodile to share the same waters. So in 1984, crocodile hunter George Craig captured him. This was done to protect both people and the animal. Cassius was already an old crocodile when he was caught. Experts were unsure of his exact age, but believed he was between 30 and 80. Some even thought he might have been much older. In 2023, researchers suggested he could be around 120 years old. He lived in captivity for about 40 years, becoming a famous crocodile known worldwide. When he arrived at Marineland, Melanesia in 1987, he was slightly smaller than his final size. Over time, he continued to grow, and in 2011, Guinness World Records officially named him the largest crocodile in captivity. However, in 2012, another crocodile named Lolong, who was even bigger, took the title. Lolong was found in the Philippines and measured over 20 feet long. But after Lolong died in 2013, Cassius became the largest known crocodile in captivity. Despite his age, Cassius was a strong crocodile who remained healthy for many years. His keepers at Marineland, Melanesia, took great care of him, providing him with food, a safe habitat, and medical attention. He was a popular attraction at the zoo, and visitors worldwide came to see him. Unlike in the wild, where he had to fight for food and territory, Cassius had everything he needed at the zoo. He was well fed and protected. His diet consisted of meat, including fish, chicken, and other meats. His keepers monitored his health regularly to ensure he was in good condition. Sadly, Cassius passed away in November 2024. His death marked the end of an era. A necropsy was performed to find out how he died. The results showed no specific cause of death, meaning he likely passed away from old age. After his death, samples of his body were sent to scientists in hopes of determining his exact age. His skin and head were preserved as a way to honor his memory. Number 8. Yai. Yai is one of the biggest crocodiles in the world and a true giant of his species. He lives at the Samut Prakan Crocodile Farm and Zoo in Thailand, where he has been a major attraction for many years. Yai is a hybrid between a saltwater crocodile and a Siamese crocodile, making him unique among large crocodiles. His massive size sets him apart. He measures approximately 19.7 feet in length and weighs over a ton, making him one of the largest crocodiles in captivity. This giant crocodile spends much of his time in his enclosure, which is designed to accommodate his size. He enjoys resting in the water or basking on the sunlit banks, often lying still for hours. Despite his slow movements on land, Yai is incredibly powerful, capable of sudden bursts of speed when necessary. His thick, armored skin provides excellent protection, and his long, muscular tail helps him move swiftly through the water. His sharp teeth and immense jaw strength make him a formidable predator, even in captivity. During feeding time, Yai's power becomes even more evident. He has one of the strongest bite forces in the animal kingdom, capable of easily crushing bones. He feeds on large pieces of meat his caretakers provide, ensuring he remains well-fed and healthy. Though he has adapted to life in the zoo, he still retains the instincts of a wild crocodile, reacting quickly to movement and displaying territorial behavior. Visitors worldwide come to see Yai, drawn by his incredible size and ancient, almost prehistoric appearance. Despite environmental changes, crocodiles like Yai continue to thrive, proving their ability to adapt and survive. Number 7. Brutus. Brutus is a giant crocodile living in the Adelaide River in Australia's Northern Territory. He is 18 meters long, weighs about 2 tons, and is believed to be around 80 years old. His most famous feature is his missing front right leg, which many believe he lost in a fight with a shark. Despite his age and injury, Brutus is still a powerful predator. Recently, Brutus became an international sensation when he was photographed with a bull shark in his jaws. Tourists on a river cruise spotted him holding the shark and watched him disappear into the mangroves with his catch. The rare sight amazed everyone on the boat. One tourist, Andrew Pace, captured the moment on camera, and the images quickly went viral. Brutus has been well known for years. Photos of him leaping out of the water to grab meat on a river cruise made headlines in 2010. His enormous size and missing leg make him one of the most famous crocodiles in Australia. Many visitors take the cruise hoping to see him, though he doesn't always appear. Tour guides describe Brutus as a local celebrity. His sheer size and history make him one of the most exciting animals in the river. Because of his massive frame and ancient appearance, some tourists compare him to a living dinosaur. While no one knows exactly how Brutus lost his leg, the theory that he fought a shark makes his recent meal even more fascinating. Whatever happened in the past, it's clear that Brutus remains one of the wild's strongest and most feared creatures. Number 6. Bujang Senang. This massive reptile had a white back and was believed to be over 25 feet long. For decades, it terrorized the local villages, taking lives and earning a reputation as a demon of the river. One of the earliest recorded attacks happened on June 26, 1982. A farmer named Bagan Anak Pali was searching for shrimp with his brother Kabir. As Bagan walked in the water, he suddenly stepped on something large. Thinking it was a log, he barely had time to react before a massive explosion of water erupted in front of him. A huge crocodile grabbed him and dragged him away. His brother tried desperately to save him, even jumping into the water and holding the crocodile's tail, but the beast was too strong. The next day, villagers saw the crocodile carrying Bagan's body in the river. 5 days later, his remains were finally found. More attacks followed. Just weeks later, another villager, Abang Anak Kalia, was taken out when a large crocodile rammed his boat, knocking him into the water. The tragic passing caused panic, and the government launched a massive operation to hunt and neutralize man-eating crocodiles. Armed with guns, spears, and even grenades, hunters searched for Bujang Senang. One crocodile catcher managed to harpoon the beast, but it was too powerful. It dragged the boat against the current before breaking free and disappearing into the depths. Sightings of the white-backed crocodile continued for years. In 1984, another villager named Badong Anak Aong was fatally wounded in a brutal attack. Witnesses saw the crocodile playing with his body in the river, tossing it around like a toy. 6 hunters chased the beast for hours, finally getting close enough to shoot it twice. But the crocodile barely reacted. It sank into the water and vanished once again. Over the years, more attacks were reported, and many believed they were the work of the same white-backed crocodile. One man claimed that the beast had been hunting people since the 1960s, making it one of the longest-known man-eating crocodiles in history. Before we move on, let's check out today's subscriber's pick. On your screen, you'll see an image of a man being chased by a crocodile the size of Godzilla. Of course, the image isn't real, but that should be your exact reaction if you ever encounter a crocodile in the wild. Run! To put things into perspective, an estimated 1,000 to 2,500 people lose their lives to crocodile attacks every year, according to Statista. Nile crocodiles alone account for half of these fatalities. You don't want to be part of that unfortunate number, so always prioritize safety when encountering a wild crocodile, no matter its size. Have you ever seen or heard of a crocodile attack? Share your experience in the comments below. Number 5. Gustave. In 1987, reports began emerging from Lake Tanganyika in Burundi about a massive Nile crocodile attacking people in the Rusizi River. But this was no ordinary crocodile. It was Gustave, the killer. It was said to be 20 feet long, weighing over a ton, and possibly 100 years old. People claimed gunfire couldn't stop it, and the beast was responsible for over 300 deaths. Fishermen described a terrifying predator that used its tail to splash water and knock them off their boats before dragging them under. Some even believed Gustave was bulletproof, saying that he would eat the bullets fired at him. His attacks seemed to follow a pattern. When he disappeared into the deeper waters of Lake Tanganyika, the tragedies stopped. But whenever he returned to the river, the loss of lives began again. French naturalist Patrice Fay arrived in Burundi to deal with the infamous crocodile by 1998. At first, he intended to take out Gustave, but after seeing him, he changed his mind. Patrice spent the next 2 years tracking Gustave, observing his habits and trying to understand him. He discovered Gustave traveled up to 20 miles through the Rusizi River, likely searching for mates. However, his movements left a trail of destruction. It was believed Gustave primarily fed on fish and cattle, but there were claims that he once took out and ate an entire hippopotamus. Patrice had a different theory. He believed Gustave developed a taste for human flesh because of the war in Burundi. Many bodies were thrown into the river and lake, and Gustave may have started scavenging on them. Over time, he may have begun hunting humans. The estimate of 3 passing came from a simple calculation. If Gustave had taken out people for 20 years, it could have added up to that number. In 2004, a documentary crew arrived in Burundi to film capturing the killer croc. This was the first time the world saw Gustave. The footage confirmed he was a massive Nile crocodile, easily identifiable by bullet scars on his body and a deep wound on his shoulder. Patrice collaborated with crocodile experts Alison Leslie and Mark Ganzwana to capture Gustave. They set up a giant trap, using a live goat as bait. But Gustave never entered. One night, the trap was found flooded, and the goat had vanished. Gustave was considered too intelligent. That same year, he took out 17 people in just 30 days. Patrice then proposed a new plan. Tranquilize Gustave, attach a radio collar, and release him back into the wild to track his movements. But Gustave was never caught, and he remained a lurking danger in Burundi, or he may still be lurking in the murky waters of the Rusizi River, waiting for his next victim. Number 4. Dominator. In the rivers of Australia, one of the biggest and most dangerous crocodiles roams the waters. His name is Dominator. He is a saltwater crocodile, a species known for being the largest reptile on Earth. But even among his kind, Dominator is special. He is massive, estimated to be around 20 feet long and weighing over a ton. He is one of the largest crocodiles ever seen in the wild. Dominator lives in the Adelaide River in Australia, which is famous for its large crocodiles. But even among them, he stands out. His body is covered in scars, proof of the many battles he has fought over the years. Crocodiles are territorial, and in the wild, they battle for dominance. Only the strongest survive, and Dominator has earned his name by defeating rivals that dared to challenge him. His massive jaws and powerful tail give him an advantage, making him nearly unbeatable in a fight. This giant crocodile is also known for his incredible power. With his massive jaws, he can leap out of the water to grab food. Tourists come from all over the world to see him during the famous jumping crocodile tours. When he jumps, people see how big and strong he is. His thick, armored skin protects him, and his sharp teeth make him a true predator. His bite is one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, powerful enough to crush bones in an instant. Despite his size, Dominator is not often seen outside of feeding time. He stays in deeper waters and only comes close when he wants to. He is a patient hunter, waiting beneath the surface for the right moment to strike. Crocodiles have been around for millions of years, surviving even when the dinosaurs disappeared. They are built for survival, and Dominator is a perfect example of this ancient predator. In the waters of the Adelaide River, Dominator has one major rival, Brutus. Brutus, a massive crocodile nearly as large as Dominator, is missing a front leg, as mentioned earlier in the video. These two giants share the same river, and their rivalry is well known. When they cross paths, the water churns as they size each other up. Though they rarely fight where people can see, the scars on their bodies reveal the history of their battles. Despite his reputation, Dominator is not an aggressive killer. He is a survivor, a creature following the instincts that have kept his species alive for millions of years. He hunts not for sport, but for survival. Number 3. Lolong. Lolong was the largest crocodile ever kept in captivity. He was a saltwater crocodile that measured 20 feet 3 inches long and weighed 2,370 pounds. His massive size made him one of the biggest crocodiles ever recorded. In November 2011, a British expert from National Geographic confirmed his measurements, officially making him the world's largest crocodile in captivity. Lolong was captured on September 3, 2011, in a creek in Bunawan, a town in the Philippines. His capture was a huge event involving local officials, residents, and expert crocodile hunters. It took around 100 people to pull him onto land. He fought back fiercely, breaking strong ropes twice before he was finally secured. Experts believed he was at least 50 years old at the time. People suspected Lolong of attacking a fisherman and a 12-year-old girl, but when experts examined his stomach, they found no human remains. Despite debates over whether Lolong should be set free, the town of Bunawan kept him in an ecotourism park, where he became a major attraction. Lolong was named after Ernesto Lolong Koñate, a veteran crocodile hunter who helped track him. Koñate spent weeks following the giant reptile, but sadly died of a heart attack just days before Lolong was captured. Lolong brought thousands of visitors to the Bunawan Eco Park. His enclosure opened to the public on September 17, 2011, and the park charged small entrance fees to help care for him. The park earned thousands of pesos daily, making Lolong an important part of the town's economy. In June 2012, the Guinness Book of World Records officially named him the largest crocodile ever kept in captivity, breaking the record of an 18-foot crocodile in Australia. Despite his fame, Lolong's time in captivity was short. On February 10, 2013, he was found dead in his enclosure. A necropsy revealed he had died from pneumonia and cardiac arrest, worsened by stress and a fungal infection. His body was preserved and displayed at the Philippine National Museum, ensuring his story lives on. Number 2. Kalia. Kalia, one of the largest living crocodiles ever recorded, was a true giant of the animal kingdom. At 23 feet long and nearly 2 tons, he ruled the waters of Bitarkanika for decades. Unlike many other massive crocodiles hunted or captured, Kalia remained free, growing larger each year. His immense size made him a legend, and stories about him spread far beyond the rivers he called home. Kalia was often seen gliding through the muddy waters or basking in the sun along the riverbanks. Despite his massive build, he moved with surprising speed, making him a fearsome hunter. His powerful jaws crushed fish, birds, and even large animals that strayed too close. Villagers whispered stories of his strength, telling tales of how he could easily drag an entire buffalo into the water. His sharp senses allowed him to detect the slightest movement, making it nearly impossible for prey to escape. His dominance in the waters of the Tamra River meant that few animals dared to challenge him. Scientists believed Kalia had lived for over a century, a rare feat for any crocodile. His long life was partly due to the conservation efforts in Bhitarkanika, where strict protections helped prevent poaching. Unlike many other giant crocodiles that fell victim to hunters, Kalia thrived in the dense mangrove forests, a perfect sanctuary for an apex predator. Despite his terrifying reputation, Kalia was a creature of instinct, not malice. His attacks on animals and at times humans were not acts of cruelty, but of survival. His powerful tail propelled him through the water with effortless grace, allowing him to stalk his prey with silent precision. But Kalia's reign came to a tragic end in 1926. A ship captain, perhaps fearing for his safety, shot the great crocodile. Wounded, Kalia retreated into the dense reeds along the riverbank, seeking refuge in the thick vegetation. However, the villagers, knowing his reputation, set fire to the area, ensuring there was no escape. The flames consumed the reeds, and with nowhere to go, Kalia perished in the blaze. It was an unceremonious end for a creature that had ruled the waters for over a century. His skull was later preserved in the palace of the Raja of Kanika, a haunting reminder of the giant that once roamed the rivers. Scientists and wildlife experts study his story, hoping to better understand these ancient reptiles and ensure their survival in the modern world. Number 1. Chris. In the remote rivers of northern Australia, one of the most astonishing crocodiles in history was discovered in 1957. This was Chris, the largest saltwater crocodile ever recorded. He was so big that his size remains unmatched. Chris was found by Christina Pawlowski, a skilled crocodile hunter, and her husband. Crocodile hunting was common in Australia at the time, with people seeking their valuable skins. The couple had heard local stories about a giant crocodile lurking in the waters near Normanton, but few believed such a creature could exist. When they encountered Chris, they realized they were face to face with something extraordinary. The massive crocodile was resting near the riverbank, almost blending in with the surroundings. At first glance, it looked like a floating log, but upon closer inspection, its rough, scaly hide and piercing eyes revealed the truth. Christina, an experienced hunter, took careful aim with her rifle. The shot hit its mark, but Chris did not go down immediately. The immense reptile thrashed violently, its powerful tail churning the water and sending waves crashing against the shore. Eventually, the struggle came to an end, and the lifeless body of Chris was left floating in the river. When the crocodile was finally measured, the sheer scale of the animal left people in disbelief. Chris was far larger than the average saltwater crocodile at 28 feet, typically growing between 13 and 16 meters. His massive size raised many questions about how he had grown so large. Scientists believe he must have been extremely old, possibly over a century, allowing him ample time to reach such an enormous length. His diet would have included fish, birds, and even large mammals, making him the undisputed apex predator of his environment. Despite his historic size, Chris was not preserved. No photographs of him exist, only recorded measurements and eyewitness accounts. However, his legend continues to live on. In the town of Normanton, a life-size statue of Chris was erected to commemorate the largest saltwater crocodile ever officially recorded. It serves as a reminder of the prehistoric giants that once roamed the waters of northern Australia. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.